What is up, farming family? How y'all doing today? Today, we're checking out the Double Black Diamond. This is the 16mm Gen 2 raw carbon fiber paddle, unibody, thermoform, foamed edge. I have a code with them. It's 10% off. It's Farmer10. I will get a kickback from that. Thought I should let you know that. Also want to let you know a little bit about the company. The company was the first company to come up with this hybrid shaped paddle. They're also coming out, well, they came out with the first raw fiberglass face paddle. They're also coming out with what I believe is the first raw Kevlar face paddle in the Ruby, and they just dropped the first raw carbon fiber edgeless paddle that I know of. I don't think anything else is on the market. I've looked into it and couldn't find any. So if you buy paddles like these, you're investing into, to the future, into the progress of pickleball, because some companies are just, getting literally copies of what other companies have made and just, duplicating them and selling them for cheaper. So if you pay a little bit more, you're going to help companies with R&D. I'm not saying pay over $200 by any means, but let's get into this paddle. I'm going to tell you, what makes this paddle different or what makes this paddle special, and if I think that it's worth it. But let's get into this. All right, let's start at the top with the pop. The pop of this paddle, out of all the hybrid shapes, I would say it's definitely among the top in terms of face stiffness. When it comes to the ball popping off the face, it's nowhere near as plush as, the pulsars, volaires, stuff like that. So it's a pretty stiff face. It doesn't have like a crazy pop or anything like that, like a Black Ace or, the Proton 11mm. It's nothing like that. But it is, poppier than the pulsars and the volaires and other paddles like that. And then when it comes to the power, I would also say this is one of the more powerful hybrid shaped paddles on the market, for sure. Like when you do a drive, the ball, comes off the paddle pretty quick, and it also carries pretty far in, back towards the baseline. With some paddles, you have to add a lot of lead tape in order for them to have plow through to make your drives, penetrate the back part of the box. But with this paddle, that doesn't really seem to be a problem. This is definitely one of the more powerful hybrid shaped paddles that I've used. So the drives into serves felt really good with this thing. In terms of control, this one will be a little bit harder to control than some of the other Gen 2 raw carbon fiber paddles. But later on in this review, you're going to see why I think trying this and consistently using this paddle will benefit your game though. So it's not going to be crazy hard to control like the Black Aces or anything, ridiculous like that. But when it comes to like the Volaire, Pulsars, paddles like that, this one, it's a little bit stiffer, has a little bit more power. So you're going to have to concentrate a little bit more when, you're doing your dinks, your drop shots and your blocks and your resets and stuff like that. The spin you get on this is ridiculous, okay? Like when you do, your slices, you do your drops, anything like that, and you put any amount of spin in it, it's gonna spin. Some paddles, on the market will do, just enough spin, but then there's paddles that are like top tier, and this one is in the top tier, in terms of spin. Like I feel like I could go to a tournament and I wouldn't have to worry about balls, selling long because the top spin would definitely dip them in compared to, some of the other paddles with like spray on grit and stuff like that. When it comes to the swing weight, it is 116, which is right in line with, hybrid shaped paddles. So basically when the hybrid shaped paddle was made, it was because people wanted the swing weights or similar swing weights to standard shape because they are, easier to swing. And then they wanted the little extra length that you get with elongated. Wha-bam, hybrid shape was made. It's going to be about average in terms of swinging. Basically, if you played with another hybrid shape or anything like that, it's going to be right in line with them. If you played with a standard shape, it'll be a little bit heavier. And then if you played with an elongated, it'll be a little bit head lighter when you're swinging. That's like literally the only way to explain it. And the overall weight of this paddle was 8.2 ounces. Don't really know why I mentioned that, but for some reason, some people still get stuck on the overall weight of it instead of the twist weight and the swing weight. So there you go, 8.2 ounces. When it comes to the twist weight of this paddle, out of all the hybrid paddles I've tested, this one has the best sweet spot. It's 6.83, or the highest twist weight, which is 6.83, which is really good compared to some of the other ones that I've tested. This is where I get to the part where I tell you why I think it's worth trying this paddle, consistently going to this paddle and not changing from it. When I mentioned the control about it being a little bit harder to control and you have to focus a little bit more, the sweet spot's bigger on this one. So you won't have as many dead hits towards the edge and stuff like that. So if you are consistently playing with one paddle and not switching and reviewing paddles or anything like that, this paddle will give you a really, really good chance to win if you're putting balls in the right spot and you're hitting even remotely close to the sweet spot. Because the sweet spot on this thing is amazing. It is definitely the best out of all the hybrids I've played with, hands down. You can just feel it when you're playing with it. So this is what I was talking about when I was in the control section, and I said later on in the video, this right here. When it comes to value for your money, it is 180, and then with my 10% code, I think it went down to 162. Somewhere in that area, don't quote me on the 162 exactly, but it's somewhere right there in that area. And yes, I do think it's worth it for the money. It's got the biggest sweet spot out of all the hybrids I've tested. It is a very, it's a stiff face compared to all the other ones who are a lot more plush. So it is very unique in that aspect. It puts really good spin on the ball, and they are bringing out new paddles, that change the market and are progressing pickleball technology. Because overall, that's what we want. We don't want, the same stuff being cloned thousands and thousands of times. I'm sure if you've went to USAPA Pickleball, you've seen where there's so many of them just getting made constantly. You want a company who's going to try to innovate, and I feel like this is one of the companies who's actually trying to. So for, 15, 20 extra bucks compared to their knockoff brands that are like copies of them, I would say it's definitely worth it for the value for your money. But yeah, until next time, stay safe, have a good day, drink plenty of water. Peace, y'all.